Hey everyone. So I just finished watching Broke Farmer's 5 things that he's never going to grow again. And I myself had been thinking of this very thing because while I'm mapping out my garden and looking at the space that I have and deciding what things I really want to grow this year and what things I really need to grow to feed my family, I was mentally going through the list of things that I'm not going to grow. So I'm not going to say that these are things that I'll never grow, but I will say that these are things that I normally don't grow, normally won't grow, and I'm definitely not growing this year. All right, so these are 10 things that I don't grow. And I'm going to start with corn. So corn takes up too much space to begin with, okay? You need at least 20 plants of corn because they are wind pollinated. You need them in like blocks of, how you plant them. You can't plant them in a row. You have to plant it in a block. So if I was to plant 20 plants of corn, I would probably have to do it like, 4 in a row and 5, like a square, so to speak. And then you only get so many corn if you get the corn at all. It takes up a lot of space. It's a heavy feeder and it's not something that I'm willing to dedicate space for. Corn at my farmer's market is fairly inexpensive. I can get a dozen ears of corn, for very cheap. So corn is one thing I don't grow. Another thing I don't grow is parsnips. I did try to grow parsnips the first year we moved here, and I did not like them. I thought that I was going to like them. I grew them because I was on a keto. I was planning to do the keto diet, and parsnips was one of the things that you can substitute for like potatoes. So I was like, ooh, I can grow those, and I can, we'll have a supply of what I can use for potatoes. I grew them, I cooked them, and I really did not like them. So yeah, I'm not doing parsnips. Eggplant. Number 3 is eggplant. I don't like eggplant. I've tried a white eggplant, a long, slender white eggplant. It was called white knight eggplant. I've tried the regular purple, black beauty eggplant. I don't like the taste of eggplant. I don't know what it is about the eggplant, but I take that. I haven't tried it fried yet, and a lot of people are like, oh, you have to do it fried, but I don't eat a lot of fried foods. So I don't want to start eating something fried because that's the only way I like it. So if I can't eat it any other way, then I'm not going to eat it. So eggplant is on the list of things that I don't grow. Number 4 on the list is Brussels sprouts. Now, I did grow these last year. Well, I attempted to grow them. But where I live in the Midwest, my season is just not long enough, and there's way too many pests that just won't let my Brussels sprouts be great. So I love Brussels sprouts, and I'm probably the only one in my family that does. So even my husband doesn't really care for them, and he loves vegetables. So Brussels sprouts is a no. If I need them, I'll buy them frozen, or I will get them at the farmer's market. Number 5 is artichoke. Now, I love artichoke, okay? I do. I really love artichoke. I can have like the nice big artichoke, baked with Parmesan cheese, olive oil, garlic, all that good stuff. And then you kind of just pull out the leaves as you're eating it. And it's kind of like oysters, how you would pick up an oyster and eat the oyster out of the shell. It's the same thing with the artichoke. When you bake the whole thing, you pull off the leaves and then you eat the filling, which is the cheese and olive oil and garlic and whatever. But super good. And then I do buy the ones in the jar and put those in my salad, or sometimes I might order them on my pizza, but I cannot grow artichoke, okay? I don't want to say that I can't, but I won't, because for one, it takes up too much space. I don't like things that take up too much space. I don't like space hogging plants. If I can't put it on a trellis and vine it and, you know, save space that way, then 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to grow it. It takes too long to grow. And when you harvest, you only get a very small harvest. So for me, it's not worth it to grow it. I'll just buy it at the store if I need it. Number 6 on the list is cabbage. Yes, cabbage. Cabbage for me takes up too much space. There are way too many pests for the cabbage. I'm not trying to attract all these cabbage moths in my garden. I've tried to grow cabbage a couple of times now, and the heads just don't get big enough for me to grow them in the small amount of time that I have. And I've tried, you know, I've put them out before my last frost, thinking that, you know, they were gonna take off or whatever, but it just, the weather here is so unpredictable, and it'll get hot on you in a minute and then it'll go back cold. But that hot that came, it just ruins the growth of the cabbage. Once it gets that hot, it's sending signals to the plant that it's time to go to seed, or it's time to, you know, reproduce. So cabbage is fairly cheap anyway. We don't eat it a whole lot, and you don't get enough harvest. It takes up a lot of space for one head of cabbage. Okay, so I'm not doing cabbage. 7 on the list is potatoes. Now, it's one thing if you're growing some exotic potatoes, you know, some fingerlings or like some fancy purple potatoes or what have you. But just your plain old regular baking potatoes, I'm not dedicating space for that. It's just not worth it to me. They're cheaper at the store. The potatoes are kind of heavy in feeding, because they have to develop those tubers and whatnot. But I'd rather just buy a bag of potatoes at the store that'll last me the week. Number 8 on the list is carrots. Carrots for me is a no, because I can get them $1 a bag at the store, and we don't eat a whole lot of carrots. My kids don't like cooked carrots, so that we only eat them raw when we do eat them. I do put them in with the pot roast, but like I said, we very rarely eat carrots like that, so it's not beneficial for me to grow them or to dedicate the space for them. And not only that, but carrots can be a challenge to germinate. And there are some tricks to germination. I know the whole cardboard trick and all that stuff, but I just don't find it to be beneficial for me to grow carrots, so I don't grow them. Number 9 on the list is dry beans. Okay, it is much more economical for me to go to the store and buy a pound or 2-pound bag of the beans that I want, than to dedicate the space that it takes to grow dry beans. First of all, you have to dedicate the space. Then you have to leave them the entire season until they dry out. Okay, so that's space that you're not going to get a succession plant in. You're not going to be able to do any, you can't, you know how sometimes in the beginning of the year you do your spring crops and you pull those out and put more in, succession planting. So with those dry beans, they're going to sit there and they're going to take up that space until they can't take up that space anymore. And then you don't get a huge harvest, okay? It's a low harvest, and it's just not worth it for me. It's just not worth it. So dry beans is a no. And then the last one I grew, and it was successful, but I just wasn't impressed. And that was the lemon cucumber. I will not grow the lemon cucumber because I don't want to dedicate any time, effort, fertilization, or space to a lemon cucumber because I don't like them. I just don't like them. They weren't bad, but they were not, they did not meet my expectations, put it that way. I expected more of a citrusy flavor, and it just wasn't there. There was a lot of seeds in it, not enough of the actual cucumber. So yeah, I'm I'm definitely not growing lemon cucumbers. So that's my list. That's my list of 10 things that I don't grow, that I don't plan on growing. I'm not going to say never because you don't know what can come your way or what can happen. I do have seeds for some of these things, most of these things, but I just don't grow them. So that's my list, 1 through 10, of things that I don't grow in my garden. So if you have a list of things that you don't grow or that you just refuse to grow or can't grow, leave it in the comment section below and let me know what it is that you don't grow. All right, guys, till next time, the more you know, the more you grow. Bye, guys.